It's not completely clear that the payment models are the source of the problems that we saw in the study. But it certainly could be the case in other research we've done. So not the health affairs paper in particular, but we did a report back in 2015, which did with the American Medical Association. We found that alternative payment models do, for practices that really go make a big investment in them, it is a major reorganization of the practice. They have to do a fair amount of work on their information technology systems. Sometimes they have to get the capital to invest in those things, change their organizational model. So you'll see a lot of small practices start to join up with larger systems, maybe sell themselves to hospitals, for example, to get access to capital. And those kinds of changes can be stressful for staff. It really is a change in how people have been doing things. If you've been doing one thing for decades and all of a sudden, because of a change in payment away from fee-for-service, you have to reorganize the practice, change is hard. And so I think we see some of that. Yeah, so I think the most promising solutions to professional satisfaction and burnout problems are going to be taken by managers who treat it as an individual organization, on an individual organization basis. So let's say you're running a large provider group and you find out that your physicians are becoming more burned out over time. I think it's important to then do a deep dive and find out the reasons for that. If it turns out that the reasons are that they're being asked to see too many patients, or that your electronic health record is configured in a way that makes it extremely hard for them to do their job, treat the underlying cause. Change that EHR, change its configuration, maybe go with a different vendor, or fix your scheduling system so that everybody's happy again, both the patients and the providers. No one likes being rushed. Both patients and providers are going to agree on this. And then if you're able to identify and try to improve those underlying causes, go back to the physicians who were the most burned out and say, hey, did this work? And if it did, great, you've done the very best thing you possibly could. I think that's far better than like mindfulness training, for example. My analogy I always make is to canaries in a coal mine. If you have physicians who are being burned out, that's like your canary. There's probably something you should really worry about in that mine or in that practice. The mindfulness training is a little bit like toughening up the canary, which is not necessarily the best way of handling the situation.